What's up, everybody? It's your boy C has some motivated minds. Like I told you, I was gonna come back and do a part 3 in this series that I'm talking about the Tyree Nichols death or murder or whichever you choose to call it. I broke it up like this because had I did it all in one sitting, it would have been extremely long. So I just felt that it was better to break it up. I'm gonna pick up right where I left off. So let's get it. I saw earlier tonight, I was looking up some stuff on Roland Martin. And one of the guys, the guest that he had, he said, well, for those people that are saying, well, why are people protesting? Like me. People are protesting because they want reform. Okay, I understand that. So we want reform. Then why is it that when these cases hit the media, everybody out there marching and screaming and yelling and protesting and, no justice and no peace and all of this stuff. But then once it dies down, you don't hear nothing else about it. Ain't nobody really talking about George Floyd no more until a case like this comes up. Nobody's talking about Botham Jean anymore. Nobody's talking about Breonna Taylor anymore. Nobody's talking about Eric Garner or Tamir Rice. And that's a shame that I'm naming all of these names of people who were killed by the police. But we want reform. But once the news cycle dies down and all this goes away, so does the talk about reform, with the exception of very few people. To me, if you want reform, then you have to keep it in the forefront. And it does not go away because the cases go away. You keep going until you get the reform you need. So think about this for a minute. The Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Movement didn't start with Martin Luther King. The fight for civil rights started long before that. People in the early 1900s were fighting for civil rights. Slavery, you had the abolitionists fighting for freedom and fighting for civil rights. And guess what? It did not go away. They kept fighting, and they kept fighting, and they kept fighting until they got what they wanted. But even then, you still have people, you still have those that are fighting for the voting rights and all this stuff, which they keep constantly trying to change. But then when it comes down to police reform, people say that they want police reform. But again, when these cases die down, so does that talk about police reform. It goes away. When we see stuff like this, we hear the chants of no justice, no peace. But my thing is, if you truly wanted reform and police reform, guess what? If we don't get justice, y'all ain't gonna get no peace. And I'm not advocating violence. The only thing that I'm saying is, if we gonna say no justice, no peace, then guess what? If we ain't getting justice, Malcolm X had this famous speech, and he said this:
we declare our right on this earth to be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.
So by any means necessary. During the Revolutionary War, those folks wanted freedom. The colonists wanted freedom from the crown or from England. What'd they do to get it? Only the Negro in America thinks that they're going to get the things that they're asking for by marching. And you know what them folks sit back and do? Hey, look, they're marching again. Oh, don't worry about it. Just wait them out. They'll go away. Do y'all remember all the protests that went on surrounding the death of George Floyd? And they wanted to introduce the George Floyd Policing Reform Bill or Policing Reform Act. What happened to it? It was introduced in the House. The Democrats in the House passed it. And it got to the Senate, and they killed it. So all that marching and all of that, ain't get it. But I tell you what we did get. We got Juneteenth. We ain't need Juneteenth. There's this other thing out there that the official title is called the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act. Y'all ever heard of it? That's the official title. They call it by another name. If you haven't read it, go read it. They got that passed. But you know what? When it comes down to policing reform in this country, jokers is fighting it tooth and nail. And that's just part of the problem, in my opinion, is that policing needs to be reformed. And me and my dog, Nola Joe, was talking about that today. And he asked me, well, where do we start? And I told him it starts in these academies. That's where it starts. Because you got to change the whole culture of policing, just like this country. You know, well, that's another video, but that's another video. So you got to change the culture. The last thing I'm going to say about that is this, and this is the other thing that really has me bothered. When we see stuff like this happen, you can almost, it's textbook. Ben Crump, the brilliant man and attorney that he is, and I take nothing away from him, guaranteed he gonna show up. He all over the country. When it come down to the funeral, Shakedown Al gonna preach it. You can almost guarantee it. And it's not that I have a problem with that, but it's the same old formula over and over and over again. At some point, we have to be consistent. We have to be. We can't protest when stuff like this happens, right? We can't get mad and protest and burn down things, right? And want to destroy everything and get the march and all of this stuff when a crime is committed on black people by police. But since all this happened in Memphis, go look at the crime rate and the murder rate in Memphis. Why ain't nobody out in the streets protesting and marching and all of this stuff when Young Dolph got killed? Matter of fact, anyway, I'm not even going to go down. In the cities across America, when these kids are dying by the hands of another black person, you have very few people outside of the families that even care. Ben Crump don't show up. Al Sharpton don't show up. Jamal Bryant don't show up. He too busy trying to sell weed in the church. So I'm just saying. So how do we expect to be taken seriously when we don't take care of the things in our own communities? That's all. And I have done video after video after video about this. I'm not trying to take away to what happened to Tyree Nichols. I'm not, because that's tragedy and it shouldn't have happened. And those 6 individuals need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But the other thing I'm saying is, where's all this energy when little Kiki catch a stray? Where's his energy when Joe Quantavious gets shot up 30 times in the middle of the street and everybody saw it and ain't nobody got nothing to say about it? And the family got to get on TV to beg people to say something. Where's all that energy at? Where's Mr. Crump? Where's Reverend Sharpton? Matter of fact, where's Black Lives Matter? Where they at? Them jokers, the Black Lives Matter people in Memphis, need to shut up. If you didn't say anything when a black person was murdered by another black person in your city, don't say a word when it's done by the police. Keep the same energy. And I know it's not going to be positive, but hey, leave a comment down there. Feel free to hit me up. Because guess what? I stand on that. I have, for anybody to say, well, what are you doing? I done stood in the paint when something like this has happened. Matter of fact, I can't even speak on it. I'm not going to speak on it right now. Me and my partners have stood in the paint and went to war with folks. And we have stopped people from what happened to Tyree Nichols. We have stopped it. and have gone to war and has been ostracized and all of this stuff. But you know what we call it? We call it, hey, all right, fellas, let's get in that 6-4 and ride. Like Doughboy, Monster, and Dookie from Boys in the Hood. I ain't say Trey because he got out. Because guess what? That's what we do. Anyway, I'm just saying, man, I don't take away, and I can't take away, because what happened to Tyree Nichols is disgusting. That is not, those weren't police officers. They weren't. Those are cowards. But I'm just saying, how can we expect police reform when we protest in the moment, but once the moment is gone, jokers go away? Hey, this your boy C has Motivated Minds. I just want y'all to think about it.